This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, September the 18th, is a star who was a Slovakian icon. Of course, Slovakia was not Slovakia until the 90s, and this guy was in the 1980s playing in Czechoslovakia. His story was huge about how he got to the NHL in the first place. But this guy played in the NHL from 1980 to 1995. And in fact, he had the second most points in the 1980s by a player. Not Mario Lemieux. Gretzky's number one, but this guy. He was a Quebec Nordique icon, part of the European Parliament for Slovakia. And second most points by a Slovakian player of all time. He's the father of a current Carolina forward. His name is Peter Stastny. Peter Stastny is now 67 years old. Stastny played in the Czech League and was a very good star player. However, his story of getting to the NHL is huge. For Stastny, he was one of three hockey playing brothers alongside Anton and Marian. And Peter always wanted to play in the AHL. So Peter, alongside older brother Anton, managed to get from Czechoslovakia to Canada. Quebec he was undrafted, but Quebec, with Marcel Aubut, knew what to do and made sure everything happened. So anyway, it was huge about, Peter and his pregnant wife, Anton and his wife, they had to move quickly and all that because the Czech officials were on their tail, but managed to get to Canada to play for Quebec. So Peter and Anton, Stastny both played for the Nordiques. They did manage to get Marian to join them, becoming the third trio of brothers to play on the same team. The Bentleys had Max, Doug, and Reg Bentley for a little bit in the 40s. And then Bob Barclay and... who was the third? Bob Plager? I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Regardless of that, Peter and Anton were great players and all that. They both put up 8 points in the same game against the Washington Capitals in 1981. It was just amazing how, the Stastnys knew each other and, telepathically. With this whole defection to Canada, it opened up the Iron Curtain, if you will, and the trickle of Czech and Soviet players were fled following his footsteps. Peter knew that his decision was the best decision he could ever make, and he could play with his brothers. Stastny, as a player, put up 1,239 points in the regular season, helping the Slovak team in many tournaments. In fact, Slovakia in 1993 had to start from the bottom of the double IHF because, they were a new nation. But they went up all the way to the A levels for many years. So anyway, Peter Stastny was the fourth son. Vladimir and Bohumil were also there. But then Peter was born after Marian and before Anton and Eva. And all that. Excuse me. Anyway, but, he was the first player in NHL history to get 100 plus points in his rookie year. He put up 109. No player had ever done that. A lot of people say, what about Gretzky in 1980? He was a rookie, right? Technically, no, because he played in the World Hockey Association, and that was a professional league, in a sense. So anyway, Stastny got 109 points. He had 70 assists, which is still tied for the NHL record with Joey Juneau. Most points in a game by a rookie with 8. He holds that. Well, he shares that with Anton. And actually holds That's actually the NHL record for points in a road game. 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists in Washington. So anyway, Peter Stastny would move on from Quebec, shockingly being traded to the New Jersey Devils in 1990, which was shocking. And then he went to the St. Louis Blues for a few years. So anyway, Peter is the father of Jan and Paul Stastny, who played in the NHL themselves. Paul began his career in Colorado in 2006, followed by St. Louis, Vegas, and Winnipeg. Now he's with Carolina. Jan Stastny played for Edmonton in 2005 and was a professional player as late as 2018. Jan Stastny would play for Team USA at the World Championships in 05 and 06. Paul would be part of the 2010 and 2014 Winter Olympic teams for the Americans. The Stastny family represent 4 countries. The Czechoslovakia, Canada. Stastny played for Canada at a Canada Cup for Canada. Slovakia and the United States. Paul Stastny was a finalist for the 2007 Calder but didn't get it. Stastny was resentful of the communist regime in Czechoslovakia. He pursued a career in European Parliament because he could speak English and French, and he was elected. He had a campaign slogan, "With courage and determination for a strong Slovakia." So he was there for 2 5-year terms. Of course, Stastny had some problems with Soroki, who was president of the Slovak International Hockey Federation, stating poor performance and basically his own financial interest over the welfare of Slovak hockey. All that. His grievances were penned to IIHF President Rene Fasel in 2008 because Soroki's actions made Peter and his brothers defect to Canada. Stastny actually resigned from the Slovak Hockey Hall of Fame as a result, with no response to his stuff. Anyway, Stastny would represent Canada at the '84 Canada Cup, winning the title. For the Czechs, he would represent them in the '76 Canada Cup, getting 2nd place. And he would represent Slovakia at the '94 Olympics. So he did what he could. So he was inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1998. Won the Calder for Rookie of the Year in 1981. Part of the IIHF. In 2000, he's been inducted to the Slovak and Czech Hockey Hall of Fame, but of course he's with the Slovak Hockey Hall of Fame he resigned. Stastny, in his career with Quebec, New Jersey, and St. Louis, put up 977 games, 1,239 points, with 105 playoff points in 93 games, which was pretty impressive. Quebec was close in '85 to go into the Stanley Cup Finals, but lost to the Flyers in the conference final. Internationally, he would be there for Slovakia, especially in the Olympics. And Peter Stastny is always going to be, what I think is the best player of the Quebec Nordiques when they were in Quebec. So figure that out. But Stastny was a hero to the country of Slovakia. You know, his defection was huge in international hockey circles, and he can't beat that. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do